Hey everybody, it's John, and welcome back to a very special episode of the HR Social Hour Half Hour Podcast. I'm excited to be talking to Michael Webb and Cyndy Trivella from WorkScene in this episode. And full disclosure, I've known Cyndy for several years. When I was first laid off and out of work, Cyndy and I met through several different Twitter chats that we were both part of, and Cyndy was extremely supportive of me in that job search and has helped me along the way, certainly kept in touch. And she contacted me a few weeks ago to tell me about this new adventure she's in with Michael and with WorkScene, and I asked her to come on the show to talk more about it. WorkScene's doing some really interesting things when it comes to inbound recruiting, to employer marketing and brand that I thought you as the listeners would appreciate and hopefully glean something from. So hope you'll sit back, enjoy the show, maybe check out WorkScene once the episode's over. Without any further ado, here are Michael and Cyndy with WorkScene. We'll see you soon. Thanks. I want to take just a moment to welcome Michael Webb and Cyndy Trivella from WorkScene to the show. Good afternoon. How are you all doing today?
Great. How are you?
We're great. Thanks for having us.
We are hoping we have beaten the technical gremlins that sometimes happen in the wonderful world of podcasting. So in the introduction, I did not really make a formal introduction for either of you. Hoping you'll give us the 30-second pitch or tell us a little bit about yourselves. Michael, why not you first?
All right, I'm going with the 10-second 50,000 footer. So I've been in recruiting for about 20 years in different roles, whether it be, I guess I started as a coordinator. I've been a VP of recruiting and, enjoyed over the last kind of 15 years building recruiting technology, whether they're job boards or vendor management systems, and in this case, a social media platform designed for recruiting. That would be a quick general overview of, I guess, who I am.
And how about you, Cyndy?
Okay, my name is Cyndy Trivella, and I serve as the VP of Strategic Relations at WorkScene. I have about 20 years of experience in the HR marketing space with an emphasis on employer branding. And I've worked alongside some of the biggest brands in the world and helping them to attract and retain top talent within their organizations. I love to write, and I love to write about workplace issues and social media and employer branding. And you can find my stuff on Medium, ere.net, and Talent Culture. My interest in social media and recruiting and how hiring companies can optimize their use is what led me to my current role at WorkScene. And I would be remiss if I forgot to mention that I also serve alongside you, John, as an influencer at HR Marketer.
I think we should also point out that, Cyndy, I feel like I've known you forever, at least in social media world terms, all the way back to OMC chat and T-chat forever, as I always say. Yeah. But yeah, just been in and around the space for a long time. So it's really fun to finally connect. And especially, when we had an opportunity to talk a little bit more about what you're doing now. But Michael, you mentioned, you've been in and around recruiting for a long time and did the portal work and did recruiting and what have you. As someone that has been around it for a while as well, kind of in and out as a practitioner, what led you to make the decision to launch WorkScene and focus on a social media tool or platform rather for recruiting?
I would say my own personal experiences, working as a recruiter or managing recruiting teams kind of led me to want to build the WorkScene platform. So I think, there are a lot of tools out there currently where the person that built it or designed it, it doesn't seem like they've ever really worked as a recruiter. So the WorkScene platform was kind of birthed out of, challenges I've had at different organizations. And I just saw an opportunity to create a system where recruiters had an opportunity to kind of share interesting things about the company to attract the right people. And a lot of times in the company, you've battled with marketing because marketing controls the social media sites and IT controls the company website. And so WorkScene was that place or that tool for recruiters where, they finally had a way to kind of showcase the company's culture. So I think it just really came from challenges I had faced in my own career.
And Michael, seriously, you worked with people that didn't have recruiters building the platforms? No, perish the thought. Well, Cyndy, I have to say we talked a little bit earlier, and I had heard you talk elsewhere about the idea that recruiting on social media, it's really failed employers and prospective candidates. And it's an interesting perspective for me to hear, and especially I want you to talk a little bit more. Can you elaborate on why you believe that's the case?
So, from my perspective, it appears that traditional social platforms, they're not the panacea for talent acquisition that many people originally believed they would be. There's a ton of non-sequitorial information on social that, for the most part, it's not targeted. So this concosm of information just creates chaos. It adds a level of confusion and complexity to the recruiting and job hunting process. And let's not forget, today's modern job seeker, that person is savvy. These people recognize the shortcomings of social media, and they, like many or most recruiters, are disenchanted with its performance and ability to connect hiring companies with people who are looking for employment. And the most common attempts at using social platforms are not producing results. They're not producing optimal results because they're not designed for talent attraction and recruiting. They're designed for product and services promotion, and it's here where social media does its best work at recruiting customers.
Michael, WorkScene, I know one of the tools and one of the focuses that you've made with the platform is this idea of inbound recruiting. And some of the folks that are listening to the show may not be necessarily very familiar with that concept. Can you explain a little bit about the idea behind inbound recruiting and particularly how it applies when it comes to WorkScene?
Inbound recruiting, in my mind, is kind of the combination of employer branding and kind of inbound marketing, right? So the idea is, and the way the WorkScene platform kind of applies this is, the idea is you want to show off things about your company that would make people want to come and work there versus, posting jobs, writing 3 sentences at the top about why the company is a great place to work. It's just more effective to show people. And so WorkScene really could be the center of any good inbound recruiting strategy because, you're pulling people in with content, images, videos. You can have people join your private talent community and you can nurture those relationships and hire them at a future date. So it's really giving the job seeker a behind the scenes look at why they want to work there versus, having the job seeker trying to decipher which of the 25 jobs posted on a job board is the right company for them. So you're kind of giving them the tools they need to make an educated decision around applying for jobs and pursuing or, trying to build relationships with companies.
Cyndy, you talked a little bit about where you think things have failed, and I would wholeheartedly agree, particularly when it comes to some of the details that people are putting out there, and particularly job descriptions. Not necessarily great at relaying much about the organization, sometimes really about the job. And I think to Michael's point, not just 25 companies out there on a platform, hiring. It could be 25 jobs that are all, which one's the right one for me somewhere. So in your experience, and as you are working with people coming into WorkScene, to those employers that are working with you, what do you do, or how do you recommend that they work to improve those job descriptions when it comes to that social application and in WorkScene?
Job seekers, they're really looking for more information from recruiters, employees, and businesses. And for the most part, job postings or descriptions, they're static. They're not very interesting job specs. They don't tell the job seeker anything about the company's culture, the employment value proposition, and frankly, they're not designed to do that. They're supposed to outline requirements and duties. But I fervently believe that job seekers are conditioned to accept this because it's what they know, and there aren't a lot of other options. But changes are happening here, and I reference this a lot. There's a lot of data that shows us the persona of the modern-day job seeker. These people are not just looking for a job and a paycheck. They want a business relationship and to find alignment with an employer. And it's important for these people to know that their personal mission is in alignment with a potential employer before they make any attempt at applying to that organization. So, given this, employers need to showcase their culture and present their employment value proposition earlier in the recruiting process and stop attracting people who aren't on the same page as they are. At WorkScene, this platform gives employers that chance to showcase their culture by giving them a platform where they can display rich, meaningful content, in addition to building out talent communities for people who are interested in them as an employer of their choice. There's no complex algorithms, and there's no Boolean string knowledge required, and there's no heavy lifting. So it's a very easy to use, fun platform that can garner employers' results.
I want to expand just a little bit on that. What are you finding? So again, I think we can all agree, and all of us have been around it for a long time. Everything has changed. I certainly am seeing, much more a lean to video and short bursts of information and what have you. How does that play into what you're talking to employers about for the platform? In other words, are you really driving them to create more video content, or almost talking in tweets, right? Or the short, Instagram, we're in an Instagram and Twitter type world. How do you go about doing that when, let's face it, I mean, we could go on a major job board right now, and most of them, it looks like it's as long as your arm. It's ridiculous, right? It's absolutely insane. So how do you kind of tie that into all what you're trying to do there, telling the company story, but also telling about a job?
Well, employers have the opportunity to stream their job postings onto their WorkScene platform if they so choose to do so. So we're not telling companies don't use job postings. We're telling companies you need to have a more integrated strategy. You need to have an inbound marketing or inbound recruiting strategy, as Michael talked about earlier, as well as an outbound. So recruiters, hiring companies need to learn how to become hunters as well as gatherers. So having only one way of recruiting, you're going to tap that market very quickly, and you're going to exhaust, whatever targets you have in that audience. You need to, cast a wider net, expand, what you're doing. So our advice is to put rich content on your WorkScene platform, do videos, put up pictures of your culture. If you have people out in the community doing community work, take pictures, put it up there. If you are at a campus event and you're recruiting, take pictures, put them up there. It lets people know more about the personality of your organization. And again, that's what people are looking for. They're looking for not just a paycheck and a job, though those things are important. They're looking for alignment. They want to know that their own mission, their own personal mission, aligns with the organization that they want to work for. And the way to do that is through pictures. What's that saying? A picture says 1,000 words. That's what video and photography can do for your WorkScene page. So we advise people to take full advantage of that.
And in a lot of cases, companies have this content laying around. They just haven't had a place to put it. So, when you do the Halloween party in the office, or you're giving out turkeys on Thanksgiving Day in the community, those pictures already exist. The platform has been missing. So this is a WorkScene page is a place where you can aggregate that content, and job seekers can get a sense of, to Cindy's point, who you are as an organization. But it's kind of like you are your brand. It'd be nice to know that, what a company looks like inside prior to showing up, before you show up for the interview. And the way it works currently is that, you apply for 25 jobs and you show up and you hope it's, Class A office space versus, Class C office space.
Michael, you mentioned a little bit earlier about talent communities. And so with WorkScene, you've obviously, the company has a page. They're providing content that's going to, bring that inbound recruiting, getting people to you. Talk to me more about the talent community concept, especially as it applies to WorkScene. How do you, as an employer using the platform, how do you maintain a community like that while you're there?
Yeah, so the talent community component of a WorkScene page is definitely one of the key features. And, to your point, yep, you create your WorkScene page, you select your custom URL, and then you have your content displayed. And sometimes you have jobs that are available that a job seeker would apply to. And in some cases, they're visiting your page, and then they can join their private talent community. And so each company has a private talent community. People that join your community are broken into kind of job category the way they are on job boards. But internally, as you kind of as you update the content on your page, kind of in a marketing automation fashion, those updates are automatically pushed to the members of your talent community. So once a job seeker joins your talent community, they don't have to come back to your page to see new content that you've posted, whether it be photos, videos, employee testimonials, jobs, recruiting events. All those things get pushed to the job seeker's feed, similarly to how it happens on Facebook, right? So as a job seeker, you get notifications and you'd see that, oh, company XYZ has, 3 new positions that have opened, and those things are getting pushed. So that marketing automation component allows the company to easily kind of stay on the frontal lobe of the job seekers.
Michael, again, I've taken a look at the platform, and there's some really cool stuff there. Is it configurable with somebody's ATS? I mean, obviously, it's a place to get candidates, or, to have candidates be communicating with them while they're coming in to say they're interested. Is there a way to get their information there, or is that something you're looking at in the long run? Like where will that go, do you think?
No, I mean, currently the platform works with any applicant tracking system. So when job seekers apply to jobs, you can redirect them to apply really anywhere you want, your applicant tracking system being one of them. The candidates that join your talent community, because they're not applicants, they wouldn't be in your ATS. You'd manage them using the WorkScene platform, right? But
Sure.
The cool thing is you can see their picture. You can see the members of your talent community's pictures. You can see the most recent job title. You can see their resumes. So there's a lot of information you have about them. And then you can send information to a group of candidates if you wanted to reach out to everyone that had an interest in working in your HR department, or everyone that wanted to work in your sales department, or you can send direct messages to an individual person that came in and interviewed for a position, and you've kind of maintained a relationship with this person, and now another sales position opens. Instead of posting a job for $350 on a job board, you already have a channel of pre-qualified candidates, and there might be 3 or 4 candidates you've come in contact with that you thought might, be great for the sales team. And so now you're driving your cost per hire down because you don't have to pay every time you want to post a job. So it's just, it's a different philosophy, but it does complement, hunter-gatherer. I mean, you kind of need both sides. But yeah, the talent community is an awesome tool, and the information you can gather in there and maintain relationships with people who you're meeting at campus recruiting, or you're meeting them at conventions, or, you're simply you develop 5 candidates for a position, you hire one, and you're able to maintain contact with the other 4, and you can do it without really thinking about it because the system's automatically pushing updates and information to those candidates to kind of keep them interested in your company.
Cyndy, like we talked about a little earlier, I feel like I've known you forever through the chats, and particularly with OMC chat, I know you are a huge proponent for candidates and those in job search, and helping, trying to help them as much as possible. We talked a lot about the company side, or the the employer side of WorkScene. Can you talk a little bit about how you all are going about making candidates aware of WorkScene, and about the employers that are there? Is it just the employer has to let them know they're taking part, or are you marketing the platform to them directly as well?
Well, we use an integrated strategy. For employers, we recommend that the WorkScene social icon be present and accounted for right alongside all of their other social icons on their website. And we also recommend that they embed it into their email signatures. On our end, we promote WorkScene, the product, on social media. There you go. And we also do it through conversations and podcasts like this. And we're going to be starting a lunch and learn type webinar where we'll be inviting select individuals to educate people on the product and show them how to get the most out of it. Also, we have great blog content, and we amplify that across our business and personal networks, and that helps to advance brand awareness, of course, about WorkScene. And we're also working at building partnerships with other organizations that can benefit from a partnership with us. So we're looking, for companies that we can, create that win-win synergy. And also, this is very exciting. We are in the midst of developing a mobile app, and that's going to be ready in early to mid third quarter. And we're going to be heavily promoting this to job seekers. And we know that this is going to be a big game changer for clients for our employers.
That's excellent to hear. Mobile's the guy. We got to be there. I think we all know we have to be there. Michael, a lot of my listeners are recruiters or, HR practitioners that, might be interested in WorkScene. I hope they are. Again, I hope they'll check it out. Can you talk a little bit about the process of setting up a WorkScene page as an employer? What do I have to do? And then what tips are you giving employers right now to really stand out on the platform?
Setting up a WorkScene page it's simple. I mean, it's as simple, maybe even easier than setting up a Facebook page. You come to the site, you put in your personal information, you select a custom URL for your page. So it could be workscene.com/ your company name. You go in, you can add a cover photo or profile image that you can probably take from one of your existing social sites. And then you add content. You're adding, content, images, videos, posting jobs. And I think the biggest tip I would give is that it's all about being kind of your authentic self. So, job seekers want to see what it's really like to work there. So you can take pictures with an iPhone. You can take videos with an iPhone. It doesn't have to be a high production quality. So you don't have to spend a lot of money getting the content together. And, I think job seekers are also at a point where they realize that working at companies, it's not all blue sky. So it doesn't have to be, you don't have to polish every photo and make sure everything's perfect. I mean, people want to see what it's really like to work there. I think that's the key. I mean, you want to show the actual people that work there, not, I guess, canned photos. I mean, you want to show people what it's really like to work there based on the employees who are there. You want to show real videos and things that you're doing. And I think that, if people could come and see and follow your company and see the interesting things that go on, the way companies follow or individuals follow Facebook pages or Instagram pages. I mean, it's definitely an effective way to get the attention of the job seekers that are right for for anyone's company. So I would say just be yourself, show your authentic self. A lot of the content you'd put on the page is already in the office somewhere, whether it be the office manager or someone in marketing. I mean, they have photos from the Christmas party and the turkey drive and the 5K race and, everything in between. So it's a great place to take that content and showcase it. You can go around the office and get employee testimonials from people that have been there for years and they can indicate why they want to be there. You can videotape them and have employee testimonial videos. So it's really a place where it's the company putting its best foot forward and you're telling people, our company is a great place to work. And here's why. So you're telling your unique story, and that's what makes a WorkScene page fun. And really, I think over time is going to make it, WorkScene a destination of choice for job seekers because they're going to be able to go page to page and see the difference between companies. And it may also, force some companies to elevate aspects of their culture. But at the end of the day, showcasing your company culture, I believe, is the way of the future.
Amen. I absolutely agree. I really do. And, I'm going to turn the clock back a little bit or get a little archaic here with this question for Cyndy. I am a practitioner and I work in an industry where a lot of the people I talk to and apply for jobs with us, they're not on social, which sounds crazy to people. I know it's a reality that many of us deal with. Cyndy, do you have any advice for employers that have a contingent of those prospective employees that aren't on social? And, how do I get them onto WorkScene? Like, how do I get them to take part in this conversation? Right. How maybe with, in previous, with previous organizations you've worked with, but along the way, any suggestions on how to get to them when they're not there, right. When they're just when they're not part of the conversation? Because it is, like I said, unfortunately, it's a reality. It's becoming less and less a reality the longer we go. But again, I'm amazed just day to day how many people I talk to, they don't even have email. Mm-hmm. And then I had, everything is electronic now. It's kind of mind boggling sometimes.
Yeah. The question for me isn't should businesses and job seekers be using social media for recruiting and finding jobs? To me, the bigger question is how should businesses and job seekers be using social media for employment purposes? So to begin, for businesses, they need to understand who is in their target audience. That's Very important. Social media, as we know it today, and I mentioned it a few minutes ago, it casts a wide net. So the catch is going to have more than just what you're looking for. So because of that, employers need to communicate and they need to develop messaging where their target talent is going to be. Some of the common mistakes by recruiters are when using social media, not having a strategy in place for who to target. The messaging is off. They don't talk about the value proposition of the business and the job opportunity. They don't understand their business's brand voice, and they're not defining an end goal, and they're misunderstanding how to use social media in general. Make no mistake, social media requires engagement and a two-way communication from the employer and the job seeker. But without a clear path from point A to point B, engagement is going to get derailed. And people also need to exercise patience and tenacity. Engagement it's not going to happen overnight. By contrary, it takes time and effort to develop relationships. Companies need to create an appeal factor with the right audience members. And another common mistake I see recruiters do is when the messages are spammy or too aggressive, that just turns job seekers off. I hear that a lot from job seekers. Always a more cordial approach is going to be welcomed by job seekers, especially the passive job seeker. Now, when it comes to job seekers, they know how to use social media for personal purposes. But when it comes to job search, many don't understand how to find employers and jobs. And frankly, I can understand this. Unless you're someone who understands the complex algorithm of Facebook and the proper use of hashtagging on Twitter, results are going to be slim to none. So what does this do? It drives people reluctantly back to the job boards where they have to sift through a sea of job postings that oftentimes confuse people because, going back to what I said earlier, they're very poorly written and they really don't tell anybody anything about the company and its culture.
I have to say, I really appreciate what you just said. I absolutely agree with all the above. And, I'm very excited that we had a chance to talk, Michael and Cyndy, with both of you about WorkScene and what you're trying to do, because I think there's some really cool stuff that's happening there that people should be checking out. Those that are interested in learning more, particularly on the employer side, if they want to learn more, what's the best way to get in touch with you to learn it? And then I think maybe you might have an opportunity for listeners to have an opportunity to try out WorkScene maybe for nothing.
Yeah, there is. So the best way to check out the site would be to go to workscene.com, workscne.com. And so we do have a charter member program. We're looking for charter members, companies that want to try out the platform. You get a WorkScene Pro account free for 12 months. You get to enjoy the assistance of a dedicated success manager. And then periodically you're going to get surveys to, talk about your experience as a WorkScene community member. And so if you go to our site and you put in sign up code free 2019, you can join the charter member program and someone will reach out to you once you sign up. Your success manager will reach out to you once you sign up. They'll take you through the platform, make sure you understand it, and then they'll be there to kind of hold your hand every step of the way. It's a cool platform, and I think that, this is the future of recruiting.
And Michael, if they want to get in touch with you directly, what's the best way for them to do that?
The best way to get in touch with us directly is probably to go to the site and use the Contact Us page. My email address is mwebb@workscene.com. You're welcome to send me an email. I'm happy to talk, chit-chat, discuss all kinds of topics, or through the site. Either way is fine.
And Cyndy, how about you?
I can be reached through the Contact Us, or people can reach me on email, Trivella, so it's CTRI, V as in Victor, ELLA, @workscene.com.
I will have all that in the show notes. And again, Michael, Cyndy, really appreciate your time, appreciate the conversation. Look forward to catching up again down the road.
Thank you. Great.
Absolutely.
Thank you, John.
Take care.